Hello, and welcome back for more Mechyard survival. In the last episode, we upgraded the defense towers that we can see in the background, and they now respond to enemy presence and automatically deploy and retract and all that kind of business. And we also built the scrap walker that you can see behind me, plodding along, doing his thing, patrolling the base. He does his little routine, and then every so often, when he needs a rest, he can go back to his docking bay and recharge for a little bit. And we left it off last time needing iron, because we have built an awful lot of stuff now, and we have chewed our way through all of the resources that I had mined and built up last time. So, first thing we're going to do in this episode is go and mine some more iron, and then we're going to come back and do a little bit more base building. And the other thing on my agenda today is I really want to find some silver and some ice, because I only have the one survival kit on the crawler. I don't have one at the main base yet, and I've been living off hand mined ice for the last few days, so we could really do with finding a decent supply of it. And in order to do that, we are going to hop into our redney and go do some exploring and go do some digging. And here we are at a drilling site. We have found some iron. There is some below us, just down here. So if we engage our drills, turn the jellyfish on, we can launch it. There it goes, leveling off with the redney. Let's start digging. Now he's going to be real noisy for a while he drills some stuff. So we'll fast forward a little bit and see how far he gets. Right, well, that's done. Let's see how much we've got then. Oh, there we go. The jellyfish is emptying. And the redney is filling up. Nice. That's a nice little haul of iron we've got there. Fantastic. Right, next step. Onto the next location. I've already scouted out a little bit of silver, so we'll make our way on over there, and then we should have everything we need to do the next thing. Okay, well, we have made our way over to the silver deposit, so we'll just get ourselves lined up with some of it. There we go, we should have some silver directly below us, so we will activate the drill again. And we'll let him do his thing once more.
Hi, I am Automaton. I work hard when my owner turns me on. I can get you some uranium ore. Just let me know if you need more. Put me on a journey through space and time, and if you want to break me, that's just fine. You don't need to supervise me. Just keep in mind I need electricity.
Well, it looks like the battery is a little bit low, so we're going to have to recharge that for a while. But we've managed to dig a pretty deep hole so far. So we'll let the jellyfish recharge, and then we'll carry on drilling in a minute. Okay, so the drone is recharged again now. The Redney is going to need to head back to base very soon though. So we'll engage the mining drone again, and hopefully we'll strike some silver pretty soon.
I can perform so many tasks. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask. If anyone tries to ruin your day, give me a turret, I can make them go away. There are lots of pirates in space. I will guard you. You will be safe. I can fly your spaceships too. 1, 2, 3, let's land on the moon.
Okay, and now we have a big pile of silver. Yeah, there we go. Loads of it. Fantastic. Right, back to base. And away we go. Okay, well, now we're back at base, we can dock back up, we can get that ore offloaded and processed, and then we can start thinking about a medical bay. Right, we've got some resources lined up there to get processed. So while that's doing that, and the factory is building me some steel plates, we can have a think about where we want to build a medical bay. Okay, so while all that silver and iron is processing, I thought I should probably build a few more of the roads around my base, because I want to build more walkers, and I want more of a route around the whole thing. And there were a few comments in some of my last videos asking exactly how I built the roads with the nice shallow slope to them. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you how I did it. And as you can see behind me, what you'll need is a little piston and rotor setup, like so, with a vertical piston, a horizontal piston, a rotor, and a projector. And the other thing you'll need is a big long row of blocks like this, made out of the 2x1 slope sections, as you can see there. So it's just a big long line of them, all the way down. And I've colour-coded each section to make it a little bit easier to see when we do the next bit. Okay, then we can load up the blueprint for our little floor template into the projector. Stick it whatever height and position you like, really, because we're going to change all of these values in the pistons, the rotor, and the projector. And then from there, what we need to do is we just need to fiddle with the values of all of these pistons and rotor, and the projector as well, until we find a position that lines up nicely with the two sections of our floor. So we have this grid here, that is the main grid for the floor. We have this section over here that we would like to connect up to. Okay, so once we've found the position that we need, and we have lined up the back edge of this block with the grid we're building from, and made sure to line up this end so it's slightly clipping through the other platform we want to connect to. The next thing we can do is use the position of the projector to work out the angle that we need for the block. And then all we need to do is place it right here, as close as we can get. And once we have the angle that we're happy with, we can then place a line of blocks where we want to build our road. There we go. They will all line up with the back of that. And then we can keep building our road off that. Place a few more blocks there. Okay, and then when we get to the other end, we need to leave a little bit of a gap. And for this part, we don't need to be quite so precise. In fact, we can even throw it out a little bit. Because what we need to do is place a block here. And then we need to get an armoured plate on the end of it. Like so. So that we can overlap and clip through the grid that we want to connect up to. And then the last part is the part that you think would be the most clanging juicing, but from all of my testing, it works fine. So now we want this section to connect to this section and pull these bits through those blocks. And that way, we can connect the whole thing up into one big line. It will be separate grids, but you'll be able to traverse it just as easily as any other terrain. So now what we need to do is fill in this tiny little gap underneath. Because if you are building blocks in the terrain and you have a small grid next to a larger grid, when you connect the two up or place a block in between that will connect the two up, the smaller grid will snap into place on the larger grid. So if we stick that block under there, you'll see that entire grid has now snapped into place and has pulled that all down nicely in a nice smooth line with the rest of the floor. Now all we need to do is weld it all up. There we go. We have a road that connects up nicely to all the other sections for our mech to walk across. Now what's left to do is paint it all the right colour. And then grind the arm down. And then we can add barriers and other details to the side of this later. So there you go, we've got a lovely smooth seam up that end. And we've got a lovely smooth seam up this end. So smooth you can barely tell where it is. Because luckily for us, the top back edge of a 2x1 slope can slightly clip through other blocks. Just ever so slightly. So we can get it nice and tight up to these blocks. And it's the same thing with the tips of the armor plates. They can just about clip through other things without causing any clang or exploding. So there you go. We've got a much shallower descent down to the next level. And hopefully that'll be good enough for our mech to walk up and down. And now we can finally get round to building the medical bay. So to begin with, we should probably pick a medical bay. I think I'm going to go with, with the nice new industrial looking one. We'll stick that there. Right, well, that's a bit of a rough idea for the medical bay for now. We've got a basic kind of shape. Got a medical bay, O2H2 generator, hydrogen tank, and then we're going to conveyor all that up. We'll pipe it into the rest of the base's network, and then we'll weld it all up. So I'll come back to this in a few minutes. And now we have a medical bay, complete with tank, O2H2 generator, medical station, and a few other bits of decoration. Stuck a light in here as well. Got a lovely little door and a sign. And we can recharge power, and we can recharge hydrogen, because we had a little bit of ice from some previous mining. So we've got a tiny bit of H2 in there. We've got some access there, so we can chuck things into here. There we go, that fills our H2 and O2 tanks up again. Cool. Right, well, the next thing I'd like to do is do a bit of ice mining so we can get a little bit of a decent supply there. Yeah, we could do it going hunting for some ice, because according to that, we don't have very much hydrogen at all. So let's head on back over to the Redney, and we'll do a bit of ice mining. Okay, so here we are at a ice mining location, hopefully. There's apparently some in the floor, 30 meters below us. I have added an extra little feature to the redfish now, to help with aiming and targeting and drilling. Hopefully it works. That's kind of cool. We now have a laser projected target for the jellyfish. So now, when we launch it, it should land roughly in the middle of that position. So we've got a vague idea of where we're landing it before we start drilling, rather than just having to do a lot of guesswork.
Hi, I am Automaton. I work hard when my owner turns me on. I can get you some uranium ore. Just let me know if you need more. Put me on a journey through space and time, and if you want to break me, that's just fine. You don't need to supervise me. Just keep in mind I need electricity. I can perform so many tasks. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask. If anyone tries to ruin your day, give me a turret, I can make them go away. There are lots of pirates in space. I will guard you. You will be safe. I can fly your spaceships too. 1, 2, 3, let's land on the moon.
Right, well, there we go. We've got about 26 or 27 tons of ice. That should probably do us for at least a little while. So let's head back to base, and then we can get all this processed, and we can do a few more things around the base I want to get sorted out. Fantastic, so we've got 27 tons of ice in there. Now I have a feeling I might need to change some of my sorter settings to allow the ice to get over to the medical bay. Yeah, that's not filling up. Right, let's have a nosy. Hopefully, if we add ice to this sorter, it should. There we go. And now we've got ice going into here. And now we've got a tank filling up. Brilliant. Cool. So I can fully recharge from this base. And I can refuel my tanks. Fantastic. And we've also got a medical bay for the purposes of respawning in case something terrible happens and the crawler gets blown up and we die. Right, cool. Fantastic. So there's a few more things I want to tinker with today. Okay, so another thing I saw mentioned in the comments of one of the last videos was that the scrap walkers walking was a little bit janky, and I would have to completely and utterly agree with you. I made a schoolboy error and forgot a few key ingredients, and it should hopefully make a vast improvement on the walker's ability to walk. So let's have a look at it. So the first thing that I forgot was to add a override gyro on a subgrid to help maintain its balance. So we are gonna get rid of this searchlight. What we need to do is add a rotor on the back. And stick a gyroscope on it. And we'll call this rotor gyro rotor. Keep it simple, why not? And this needs to have shear inertia tensor on. And for the moment, we will just set all the limits to 0 so it can't move or do anything else. And get it all welded up. There we go. Once that's welded up, we'll call this the balance gyro for now, and then we will stick override controls on it. And another thing I forgot to add was an extra thruster on the front of the mech to counteract the inertial dampening, because the AI blocks will always turn the inertial dampeners on, and that can do funny things. So we'll stick a little thruster on the front of this, and hopefully we should now see quite the improvement in his ability to walk and balance. There we go, he seems much more stable now. And there we go, we have a much more stable walk cycle. And you can see he ascends that hill much easier now. Because the problem with the gyroscopes and balancing and mechs and things like that is the amount of gyros you need to keep them upright and stable often tends to overcompensate for itself when it starts wobbling around, and then it starts going mad and it starts getting out of hand and it just starts to become a wobbly mess. But a gyro on override on a rotor or a subgrid with shear inertia tensor on adds a whole lot of stability, and now he can walk up and down that hill all day long as much as he likes. The next thing is to see how it improves his ability to dock and walk back into his little docking bay. So we'll test that next. Okay, so that's triggered his docking sequence. He's walking into the bay. Added a little ridge in the centre to help with his docking abilities. He's in the middle. He's in position. He's locked down. Okay. I think that might have made his docking sequence a little bit more stable as well. So we'll let him recharge for a bit and see how well he launches again. Oh, and there he goes. And he's making his way back out the docking bay. Docking bay is resetting. And he should... There we go. He seems to be balancing alright. It's turning pretty sharply. Yeah, there we go. Right, that's all we really needed. There's a little bit of gyro override on a subgrid. And one other thing I've also done is I've swapped out one of the remote controls for another task block. So now we have a task block taking care of the patrol route, and the two remote control blocks are just doing the docking and launching sequences, because remote controls routes don't seem to be able to get interrupted with the way I've got these kind of things set up. Whereas the AI blocks, when they get interrupted, will just turn around and go to a different waypoint. They'll just skip ahead to the next one. So the AI task blocks are good for when you want a patrol route to be able to get around obstacles, essentially. And remote control blocks are better for when you want a mech or a drone or something to just head straight to its target. So yeah, he can now just roll around uninterrupted, and he's not falling over anymore. He's much more stable. He's getting up the hills much easier. So I might look at making another one of these guys, because I've already started to work on another bay and pretty much got it set up and ready to go. And we just need to finish off some more of these roads, and we could have another mech patrolling this end of the base as well. So I think I might do that next. Right, now that we've got a road and another scrap walker sorted out, we can try and set up this guy with a similar sort of patrol route and docking sequence, and try and get him patrolling around the base too. So, if we take control of this guy, we can make a bunch of GPS waypoints. Well then, that's a bunch of GPS locations set up. Hopefully these will work, and we'll give this new scrap walker a little test run and see how well he walks around. So we'll engage his patrol mode, see how he gets on. And there you go, looks like scrap walker number 2 is working properly. So we'll let him recharge up, and then see if he can launch and continue patrolling the base again. And there he goes. Well, there he goes. He's launched again. Seems to be working pretty well. And there we go. We've got a pair of mech walkers now patrolling around the base with their own little routes. They can navigate the hills pretty well. They can navigate all the corners. They can also dock back into their docking bays pretty easily. I'm pretty happy with them. And I reckon that'll be about it for this episode. We have upgraded quite a few of the mechs. We've built a medical bay, along with a O2H2 generator and a little bit of a hydrogen tank to store some stuff. We've done a bit of mining. I've not really built any new mechs this week, so there won't be anything new to upload, but I have made a few upgrades, as you've seen in this episode, so I will update those blueprints, and they will be available when this episode goes public. So, thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.